You have to go.
But I'm here about the job.
Job? What job?
Oh, it's all here in my application.
This is just a bunch of drawings. Very disturbing drawings. Oh, look, it's me. On a rhinoceros, skewering several guards like a human kebab.
Yeah, do you like it? I thought a visual aid would really make my resume pop.
Hey, everybody, and welcome to the 1224 podcast. I'm Kate.
I'm Shay.
And we're here to talk to you about everything animation. On this episode, we have two wonderful guests here today. One who you may have heard from previous seasons. Steven, welcome.
Hi, I'm back. And I'm just doing better than ever. Great to be here.
Yes, welcome, Steven. Always happy to have you here. And our second guest, we have Sydney, who has never been here before, but is a good bestie of ours. Welcome, Sydney.
Yippee.
Oh, thank you. It's good to be here. I love it. Thank you guys for having me here.
Yes, always happy. Yeah, for this month's episode, we're going to be talking about the film Nimona. Super excited because it's very well talked about and all that stuff, which we'll get into. But before we jump in, I just wanted to ask if people knew Nimona before, like, the film came out, because it's based off the graphic novel by Indy Stevenson. Shay, have you heard of Nimona before that?
I've seen Nimona at my local bookstore so many times, but never picked it up.
Real. Fair enough, yeah.
I've never heard of Nimona up until, because, I mean, the movie was like my first introduction to it. I didn't even know it was based off of something. I thought this was just something completely original that was, like, put out there. I was like, huh, there's some history behind it.
For me, when I first watched it, I thought it was like Steven. I thought it was just a movie. And then I looked on Twitter and saw that it was based off on the comic, and I saw the art for it, and I'm just like, wow, they made a huge adjustment from like a 2D comic and then translated this to 3D. Like, wow.
Yeah. No, that was really cool. That's really interesting. That you and Steven came from kind of the same perspective, and then Shay, you knew about the graphic novel because I did too. But I actually read it in middle school, I think, and I loved it. And I kind of followed just Endy's work throughout because he worked on different comics such as Lumberjanes. I was really obsessed with the comic, if anybody's familiar with that.
Only read the first volume and I never picked it up again. And every day I get so upset about it because it was actually really fun.
I actually have heard of Lumberjanes too. I just never bothered to read it. I just was like, this looks interesting. I didn't even know it was co-written by the creator of Nimona. I was like, what?
I've never heard of Lumberjane, and I guess to what all of you guys are saying, it's really cool to see something translated onto the big screen, and then as a comic artist, take it to the big screen. I'm always amazed where things evolve from. So it's really crazy that he also had previous works before Nimona as well. Sometimes I feel like I have a very small view in terms of when something first come out, like a movie, and I'll just say, oh, that's the movie, that's the idea. But really, it's something bigger to that. There's more of a story. So I'm always intrigued by that.
Yeah, it's really interesting to see that transition from comics to animation, because I think he also was the creator for the She-Ra reboot, right?
Still on my watch list.
Yeah.
I still need to check that out.
Shout out to our She-Ra episode.
Oh, She-Ra.
That darn
She-Ra. That darn She-Ra.
Mermista, I love you.
Yes, we love you, Mermista.
They have actually, other than they've worked on other than the comics that they've co-written with Lumberjanes and obviously Creative Nimona, they've also written or worked with Marvel on a comic called Runaways, and they've also been a writer on animated shows such as Bravest Warriors, Wander Over Yonder, DuckTales, 2017. And Big Hero 6, the series. Also, they have appeared IRL on the D&D show Critical Role.
Oh my god, I didn't even know that.
I had to drop some knowledge. A handful of nuggets of knowledge.
Handful of nuggets. Give me chicken
Yes.
nuggets.
Oh my god, thank you for sharing that. Love that good lore.
You're welcome. All right. Now tossing it back over to Shay.
Spoiler warning. Obviously. Oh my goodness.
That was like Craig.
Hi, Craig.
Yeah. Oh yeah, Craig's also here. We hired a new assistant.
He's a bot. He's a robot.
For free!
He records.
Yeah. Hired in our pay rate. Big spoiler warning. Also, some content warnings that will probably come up just due to like the movie. So, allegory for discrimination, slay. That's not slay. And then mentions of, wait, will we get flagged by YouTube? I just realized that.
Oh, true.
Sewer slide.
Thank you, Shay.
Yeah.
That was a nice save, Shay.
Like mentions of it.
Since that's been taken care of, Shay, the premise.
Oh, right. How do I describe this in a way that's completely serious and accurate and beautifully articulated? Local man gets framed and non-binary child wants to become his sidekick, but he's like, oh no, I'm not evil. And then the child's like, but yes you are. Let's dismantle the establishment. And then he's like, but I don't want to be framed anymore. Also, there's this guy.
There's this guy.
That's the premise.
That's it, period.
Bravo. We have gotten everything we've needed to hear.
Oh, and then said man who got framed, he always looks like this picture of Eugene Lee Yang with blonde hair. And he looks at him with the saddest puppy dog eyes you can imagine. He looks like a wet cat.
A wet cat?
Wet cat?
Yeah, like out in the rain.
Oh my god.
Riz Ahmed, wet cat. Just imagine that.
That's so crazy you bring up the puppy dog eyes, Shay, because I drew a sketch of his, like I chose a panel to pause on, and I sketched his puppy dog eyes.
I got you.
Um,
I just know the perfect one. Yes.
But yeah, I guess that's a story, like really badly explained, but yeah, it just follows Nimona and Ballister Boldheart, that's his name. They have really not long names. It's like part of the fun. Basically, they're trying to like convince people that like Ballister didn't kill the queen. We'll get to that. And I'm so bad explaining this movie.
You're driving the points home.
And then also there's kind of like dismantling the really weird establishment and then years of discrimination based on, I guess like Nimona's friend. This is like a very long way to explain it. Let's move on. It's a 2-hour movie and still it's like it still feels like they need more time.
No, even if it's a 2-hour movie, it just feels like it flies by. Like you don't even notice it.
Real. No, sometimes like I'm going out to see a movie and I find out it's 2 hours. I'm like, okay, 2 hours. All right. And then like, let's go, 2 hours. The moment where I felt like a movie was dragging on was when I first saw Avatar. I'm not talking about the series, the one with the blue people. Because I was still kind of a kid, I guess. And I was like, dang, this is long. Are we done yet?
James Cameron, what were you thinking?
For real. I love those movies where I'm just so into the story, I don't even think about the time. And I feel like Nimona was when I watched it for the first time.
I agree. Well, first of all, I want to just say, like, the whole structure and just, like, you know, as you're going along with the film, there's a lot of moments that feel fast-paced, but, like, in a good way. And then when the movie needs to slow down, it'll slow down because it needs to unpack this scene or needs to unpack this moment. There's a point in the movie, I think it's, like, towards the middle end where they finally, like, reveal the truth to the kingdom. You know, they kind of flip the script on the queen. You know, they frame her, they make her admit her, like, plan when she framed Ballister. And then you think, oh, like, c'est la vie, they did it. They had attained their goal. It's over, right? No. You still got a whole other hour of the movie, and it's like, it doesn't, when you think the story's over, like, just when you think, like, the movie's seemingly over, it's not, because there's there's something else that comes up, but like it makes sense that it would come up, and it just when you hit that last hour of the movie, you just glide through it because it's like it's so just so well written. It's just good like that, you know? Gives its finale more emphasis. Is what I mean too.
All I was gonna say is that I love that movies nowadays, because they're so lore based, at least in my opinion they are. It's not always like, okay, the movie ends, done. You gotta stick around. Like, I stick around for the credits anyway. I love how, like, I get a little tidbit as everybody leaves or everybody left, and I'm like, oh, this is the gift that I get from watching all the credits. Woo!
Yeah, no. Yeah. I feel like that's the fun part of it all. Like, when you really understand, like, why cinema is the way it is. Yes, I think especially with a good movie like Nimona, like I wish I got to see it in theaters, but obviously it's on streaming.
Should we go into background on like how Nimona ended up on Netflix?
Yes, please.
Yeah, yes please, yes please.
Oh, thank you. I was just gonna say before you started, it's such a blessing that we have this project out, because of how many obstacles it went through, Shay.
I was following this film since it got like announced. Not like intentionally, but like it's one of those things where I'm like, oh yeah, I remember like when this was announced. Because originally supposed to go with Blue Sky Studios.
Rest in peace.
Which
it no longer
is gone now. Fun. Because Disney acquired it. And then it was supposed to come out in 2020, you know, the greatest year of all time.
Woo!
And then it kept getting delayed, and then it ultimately got canceled when like Blue Sky officially was like,
when it was slayed.
Yeah, slay the house. And like it finally got to Netflix. So for a while people just thought it was never gonna come out because of like Disney axing it.
I think Disney's still very like a high political climate right now, for many reasons, but also like just because Nimona is such a queer-centric film, it really disappointed a lot of people, considering Disney's, like, you know, track of problematic things here and there. But yeah.
Homosexual fast dancing, homosexual slow dancing took us a while.
Ballroom dancing.
But we can do it now at the Disney parks.
Real progression.
When will we be allowed to do that at the Disney parks?
I don't know if anybody's familiar with Annapurna Pictures, but they also picked it up to complete the film. It's like one of their animated films that they picked up, and then there's this other Leica Studios, Missing Link.
Yeah, the stop motion one.
Oh.
Yeah.
I still need to watch that.
Oh my god.
And Sausage Party.
Yippee!
The contrast.
Yippee! So,
I love
yeah. Yeah. Like, on the live action side, basically I took a look at their website beforehand, at their portfolio, and some stuff that stood out to me. I think Sorry to Bother You was there, Her was there.
Sorry to Bother You, mean the best movie of all time. One of the best movies of all time. Another movie takes its place. Oh, I know what I want to say. Because we were talking about, like, kind of how the movie felt, like when it needed to slow down and stuff. The movie just felt like once you get to the hour mark, basically first hour is, like, Bao's whole story to me, and then the second half is Nimona's. Like, that's what it felt like.
You know what? That kind of makes sense. When I was rewatching, I love how animators, they do backstories. Sometimes it's just, you know, an opaque kind of feel, just for you to know, like, this is at a different time. But I love how they're in this futuristic medieval world. At least that's how I viewed it. And then it's like on the tile of the subway is when, you know, she's starting to tell this story, and then Val interrupts her, and then she's like, well, are you going to tell you the story for me? And then it turns out that she was just BSing the story, and really she was just kind of making fun of Bao. And I was like, oh, because for a second I thought I'm a very literal person. If you tell me anything, even if you're joking with me, I'll be like, oh, and then it's like, yeah, no, that's not how this goes. So I really like how that scene went. It's when they're in the subway system and they're escaping from the guards. I really like how that went. And this is unrelated, at least the thread of the question or like the conversation. Can I just say, when Nimona offered Bao the breakfast tacos, a missed opportunity. He didn't eat them. And I'm like, give them to me, because I love tacos. That made me so upset.
I was gonna say, that man's stressed. He thought he woke up from a 15-year coma.
He needs food.
But aren't you right?
He got dragged for
Thank you, Steven.
miles.
But isn't he hungry? I would be wanting to eat some tacos for me, because I just love tacos. Come on. For editing purposes, I also have a little sketch of how pissed I was. It's kind of funny. If you want me to send it, I will.
Most visual podcast yet.
Yes, because it kind of goes with the vibe.
Most visual podcast. If you're listening to this on Spotify or anything that's audio based, too bad. This is a YouTube exclusive little tidbit.
Oh no, I was just gonna say, if I was a man who had just killed someone by accident, he's not guilty. And I had somehow acquired a sidekick who could shape. Oh yeah, also Nimona could shapeshift.
Right.
I forgot to mention that.
Yes, that's her thing.
And I just found out about that, and I destroyed a whole government building where they hate me. And then I witness my partner look at me with the saddest eyes, just confused, and I look at them with the biggest puppy dog eyes. And then I knock out. I wouldn't be thinking about breakfast tacos. I honestly wouldn't be thinking about breakfast tacos immediately. I would be like, what just happened? Oh, and then also until I was in a 15-year coma. Because I'm gullible. I would be very confused.
Also then, just like the big adrenaline rush you'd be feeling after like the big escape from like the government building, like I even like for me, like I don't think I would want to be eating breakfast tacos after a big event like that.
No one for team breakfast tacos? I know, but like stress eating. I get it. I know I'm like that devil's advocate, but breakfast tacos. Yes, a bunch of stuff, a bunch of emotions you're processing, but you can process by eating this breakfast tacos.
All this conversation about like breakfast tacos making me hungry for breakfast tacos.
We can get breakfast tacos after this. We're in the studio.
All of us, guys.
We're in the same room right now.
Wow. I'm thousands of miles away. I wish.
No, you're not. You're in the same. We're right next to each other. Cindy, we're right next to each other.
Yeah, no.
Oh, yeah. Yo, oh, man.
Audience, I'm
What does my shirt say?
Your shirt says, I'm the best.
Thanks.
Yeah, it says I'm the best with a little smiley face at the bottom. We're just chums rubbing elbows.
Coffee.
And we're
we
just
got
like, yeah,
Steven,
man. Yo, what's up,
Steven,
dog?
remember we had that conversation a little bit before?
Yeah.
Before it, yeah, and I was it was a meet and greet, you know?
Yeah.
You were telling me about the show,
right? Yeah. I remember that. Yeah, I was telling you about the show, and yeah, you know, yeah,
yes,
dog,
yes,
yeah,
yes.
yo, dab me up, finish the skin, dog, yeah.
Remember what?
Yeah.
What did?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about, dog.
I was driving my car, and I totally have a license.
Carpool karaoke in it.
Yes, and you were blasting Charlie XCX Vroom Vroom.
Wait. No. Speed Drive, because I love that song.
That one
Speed
too.
Drive.
I was totally doing that, and then like I came through the window of the studio, but like it's fine because it happens every time. Crashed by Charlie XCX.
On brand. Boom.
Boom clap.
We're gonna pay for it because of Craig, you know, because he works on that tight income.
Yeah, shout out to Craig. Thank you, Craig. Heart emoji.
He gave me a handshake and he told me, I may be a robot, but you're gonna do great out there, Steven. I was like, thanks, Craig.
Yeah, Craig said that to me too.
He said stuff to y'all?
Yeah, he said stuff to me and Sydney. He didn't say stuff to you guys?
He never says anything to me. He just stares at me.
I think he's just shy.
Oh wait. If I can take the conversation in a different direction, because we mentioned that Nimona shapeshifts, and I think one of my favorite moments when she shapeshifts is is when Ballister they're walking through an alley, they're trying not to be noticed, and Ballister's like, hush, hush, we can't be noticed. And then she's the alley cat, and then she gets the mouse, right? And she's getting a mouse. She's like, oh, here's screaming and stuff. She says that happens, and they talk about like how they're gonna get the squire, and then we'll hurt him. I don't know, like I don't know why. I love how Nimona is just driven by just being sadistic. Val was like, let's talk to them. No, let's hurt him first, and it was just funny. And then at the very end, when she's about to take off as a dragon, he says, boo! And then, and then the person who walks by is just like, okay, what a weirdo. And I'm just like, I just replayed that. I kept replaying that too much. I talked about the tacos. I know everybody disagreed with me on the tacos, but okay.
I just really love Nimona's and Ballister's like dynamic, just because they're kind of just like both like on different sides of like chaos and non-chaotic, like kind of like D&D. I don't know, but like right, like from reading the comic again, like it's so different from the movie, like so different in terms of like story and just like character personalities and stuff like that. Like Ballister is like literally a villain in the comics, and Ballister's in the movie is like this sweet innocent baby with the puppy dog eyes. Like
dog eyes, the puppy dog eyes.
He's just a guy.
Why would you frame that
He's
guy?
just a guy. Like, sure, to the public's perception, he killed a woman, but like he's just a guy at the end of the day.
Yeah, he's just a teenage girl, actually.
Who was given tacos, but just didn't want to eat the tacos because they were in their teenage girl feeling.
Yeah, he's just a teenage girl. Sometimes a grown man's just a teenage girl.
It's okay.
Just because he's a commoner? Come on now.
I thought the kingdom was supposed to be moving forward as a society. Come on, man.
Right. For the people. Come on.
For the grown man, teenage girl, puppy dog eyes guy.
Yeah. But I really do like the film. I'd say better. Just because everybody in the comic is so mean to each other. Like Ballister and Golden Loin.
I want to
Yeah,
read the comic.
you should. I think you'd like it.
I kind of just skimmed research on that, but I think reading it
You're
would've
totally
benefited me
fine.
more.
Yeah, me too. Is there somewhere where I can find the comic?
I can give you a link.
Probably
Yes.
online for free. Cough, cough.
I understand.
Arg! I agree with the whole pacing of the film. Like, I think that's just what makes the film so good. It's just, like, the amount of, like, you get serious moments and then you really have, like, action-packed moments. And you also have, like, very fun comedic moments. Like,
Yeah,
like,
it's
the
a
film
good
itself just
movie.
has
It's a
a
fun
good balance of
time.
everything. Of, like,
I think,
of what
oh, sorry, go
usually
ahead.
an animated, like, film provides, and making it enjoyable for like all kinds of audiences. Yeah, I just really love this movie.
I'm gonna confess something.
Wait, what'd you do?
I'm in the confessional. So, when the movie first came out, I didn't think I was gonna like it.
Start shaking.
Oh no, stop. Don't do that.
No, it's okay. It's okay.
No, I thought I wouldn't like it because okay, you guys know when you know that a show is good or like a movie's good, but like you literally just can't get into it.
Yeah,
Or like you know you
absolutely.
can't get into it
Yeah.
like beforehand. That's what I felt. Also just kind of based too on like okay, She-Ra and Nimona aren't the same. I know that. It's just like if you know my thoughts on She-Ra where it's literally just like it was okay.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, like that's all, because I was like, oh, it looks like pretty cool, but then I was like, oh, I'm scared I'm not gonna like enjoy the movie as much as other people, Which, like, isn't a crime if, like, you enjoy movies that other people don't. I don't know. I think the movie, like, surprised me because I liked it so much, especially, like, while watching. Well, while watching, I was, like, pausing it every moment that was shocking.
Yeah.
I kept pausing and I would call, past guest Kiana.
Oh, wait, yeah, that's your friend. Yeah. From home.
Yeah. That's her friend, yeah.
Hi, Kiana. I don't know.
Love to hear that iconic Kiana reference.
Shout out to Kiana. I honestly don't know if Kiana even listens to these. And then I didn't watch it because I'm stubborn and awful. And I didn't watch it until it was free on YouTube. And even then, I didn't even watch it on YouTube. I watched it on Netflix still. Yeah, no, literally it was like the last week it was on YouTube. And I said, let me watch this, but I watched it on Netflix like a smart person. I came out of there. New scrungly in hand.
New scrungly.
New animated middle-aged man in hand.
Oh,
New
my
teenage girl man.
New teenage girl
Yeah.
man.
I hold his
Puppy dog
hand
eyes.
everywhere I go.
Yes.
With the tacos. I know I'm pushing so
We
hard
keep
on these tacos. Bro.
we keep circling back to those breakfast tacos, and I think that's just the bit of this
I'm
whole
sorry.
episode.
The man was traumatized.
Yes, I know. No, but hey, all my taco homies out there, you know what I'm talking about. The hard, crunchy
Dude.
tacos.
Yum,
Yum. Okay, anyway, they did it really good. Yummer. And it's really because of, like, I love seeing food in animation. Like, this is kind of like, I'm just referencing Feast with the cute little dog. They did the food so good in there.
Oh.
Okay. I appreciate animated food. That's all, Steven. But yeah, that's the whole bit.
Sydney, I appreciate. I also gotta agree with you on that. I also appreciate seeing animated food because it just looks so darn good, and I just want to eat it. I just want to reach into my screen and just take it out of the scene and just eat it.
Like the French fries, the crinkle fries. Anyway, circling back to what this podcast is all about, this episode anyway. Nodding at the art and writing. I really like the scene where Ambrosius is sitting with the director. He's mentally, like, losing it. Whenever, like, I loved how I had the same reaction when I first watched it. Like, I'm thinking he's telling the director all of his thoughts when she asks, like, is everything okay? But really, he's going insane inside. And then it just goes to him with a blank face. He's like, yeah, I'm fine. After screaming his lungs out, and it's just like, ah! And then
Arm chopping is not a love language.
I like that bit too.
I want to disagree with them so badly.
Bro, like, I wanted him to tell this lady, like, everything is not fine, and you have also pressure with trying to uplift with, like, your legacy, and that's tough, especially if you may have conflicting views on the legacy itself. So I love the art of that.
Arm chomping is a love language. Thank you, good night.
Mic drop. Sydney, you mentioned like the animation just a little bit because I want to talk a little bit about the animation. That being said, I gotta say I love the style of the movie. I also love how everything is like very, very fluid and like how they move and stuff. I guess Sydney, since you mentioned the bit, Ambrosius is telling the director how he feels, and it's like his whole like that whole acting, that very like animated acting when he's like freaking out is like it's just gold to me. And then another much bigger example is probably the castle escape when Nimona breaks Ballister out of the prison to jail. It's the whole sequence is just so like it feels like one big cut, and it's like every movement when we see her shape-shifting to like these different animals, it's just so like it's like it happens in an instant, but it happens in such a stylistic instant, and it's so cool.
Yeah. Speaking of character acting, I just love, oh my goodness, just bringing the magic of what you would get on a stage, seeing a live Broadway show, but it's like the animators works really well with the writers or like just the team collaborating together in order to make this work. I love the scene. I love scenes where I get to see what's inside the character, meaning like they may put on this persona, Like, when they interact with a certain character, they break down. They have a very vulnerable moment. When Nimona finally tells, I think Ballister asked about how it feels when she shapeshifts, how she explained it, like, you know that second before, right before you sneeze? It's like that. And I can't help but feel like, just think about everything you love, just anything. It doesn't have to do with art. I mean, of course, we're all artists here, but like, think of something that, like, gives you that feeling that she described. And she was saying that if I don't do it, it'll kill me. Like, not literally. Sorry, YouTube. But I love how they had that moment there and just how it was written, like the dialogue there. How like characters, like, they open up, like they say, like they give a piece of themselves, and it's like, okay, why are they like this all the time? Because like he goes on and on about like, why isn't she, quote unquote, if you can see me doing imagine me doing air quotes, normal? Why isn't she normal? Why isn't she like a normal girl? um she gives Ballister a perspective of why. And I just thought, like, after seeing that, I'm like, yeah, like, it would be nice to just like be someone else or be something else, or just like a part of yourself where it's like, you can think about how much, like, you don't have to think about like all the stuff that bothers you about the world and stuff like that.
Oh my god, Sydney, thank you for that. Like, that really hit hard with me because I think that's what this movie centers upon is identity and like why labels are a thing in the society that they live in with the institution and everything. It's either you're normal or you're a monster. You're nothing in between that. And if you are, then that's weird. And I think obviously the film itself is very queer centered, but there's like an allegory of like queerness with Nimona's character, I feel, especially with her. And the shape-shifting aspect is such a fun visual motif of that. Because it's like, obviously the main cast itself is like cast of characters are queer, but like I really felt like Nimona was the person who always had to like explain herself, explain her existence to people, and I think that definitely relates to a lot of like queer people who always have to like explain their identities to others who may not understand it, or to a loved one who doesn't necessarily understand it either, or is from a different generation. It really resonated with me in such a deep way as like a queer person myself.
I think also, like, I find kind of cool with like Nimona and like Ballister's dynamic, especially. It's not even just like so like Ballister, of course, is like ostracized from society, obviously. But also I kind of think too, like, besides like of course it being a parallel to like Nimona, I think also it's like a good like representation of like a marginalized community trying to understand another marginalized community.
Yes.
Like, it reminded, like, whenever I would see like quote-unquote discourse, I don't like the word discourse sometimes, but where like there would be like, especially like inter-community fighting, specifically like cis queer people, and then like the trans community, sometimes that happens. I witness it. Like, I'm black. When I see like something queer community understanding, specifically like trans identity, like feels more like a proper allegory, like for the movie too.
For sure.
But like it also like reminds me of like when I'll see like black people discuss queer issues, but like not, but for some reason aren't processing, like, again, like they're obviously not the same. Like I know that. But like the lack of like understand like intersectionality, or like how you could still be marginalized in different ways. If that makes sense. I don't know if I like completely worded it correctly.
I think so. I'm interested because hi, I'm also black. I think you mentioned intersectionality and talking about the discourse because I don't identify as queer. Like, could you? I know we just talked about I hate having to explain.
No, you're good. You're good. So when I'm talking about like intersectionality, like obviously it just means like you have several identities that like come together, and that kind of like affects like how like one you're perceived, to your own life experiences, etc. I'll just do my like for like me personally. I'm black, I'm queer, I'm like femme presenting, but also like that would align like but also like my presentation aligns with like I guess like my birth records, even though I don't really identify with that. But like I understand like that's one thing. So a lot of people perceive me as cis, like specifically.
Right.
With all of those things, right? Like that would inform like how people interact with me, and then also like how like the world treats me. Like if someone talked to me about like feminism, this is such a stupid I don't like this example already.
No, it's okay.
Like if someone talked to me about feminism, but they only like talk to me about feminism from an angle that also like I can only inform like that from like an angle of being black, and also in America that's like another thing too, like even when you're where you live can inform these things. Your experiences are obviously not going to always line up with another person's, like just depending either way. And so with Nimona especially, even though like on the surface Ballister and Nimona have very similar situations, and so it's like the perception like, oh, Ballister will obviously like understand Nimona's deal. He like doesn't, right? He still also reflects what like society taught him, where it's like anything that's different is bad, despite him also coming from like a non-traditional background for the position that he was previously in.
Right.
Yes.
And then now he is ostracized. That's what I'm saying.
Okay, because like you sparked something in me, but if Kate or Steven, like you had something to say, I don't want to trample over you.
All I was gonna delve into is like because we're I know we're on the topic of like the themes and stuff, and I'm just gonna touch on these quickly. I think two other themes that are prevalent in this film are good versus evil, and friendship, as kind of surface level as that sounds, but yeah, we get a nice touch of those in the film. That's pretty much all I've wanted to kind of toss my 2 cents into.
Yes. Friendship.
It's magic.
Thank you for the reference. What you just said, Shay, I just think about the emphasis of like Ballister is seen as a villain now in the movie, and that's why Nimona like instantly broke into his like lair and is like super excited because she's like, wow, somebody like me is like not accepted into the society, and she was really wanting to connect with Ballister, and unfortunately by the way he was raised, and I think we can definitely talk more about the Institute and the wall and everything, and how it's an allegory for prejudice against the oppressed and everything, and how the institution wants to constantly stay in power, and the Nightings and the Knights are like seen as like the heroes of the society when they're clearly not. It's so interesting to see each character flawed because, like, for example, Golden Loin doesn't think Ballister is innocent, and Bal doesn't really like accept Nimona for who she really is. We were just talking about like he always has to ask her why she shapeshifts and everything, and why that matters to her. Like he doesn't necessarily like understand that, and I really resonate with what you said, Shay, about the disconnection between these two characters interacting when they seem to be the same in a perceptual way, I guess, like in their society, but like clearly there's a disconnect there.
Oh, and I was gonna like add to what Shay was saying also about everything you just said. And first off, Shay, thank you for going into detail because I think I was having that conversation where there are parts of because I know it's queer based that I do want to understand. I can relate to Ballister always asking that question because it's like I feel like it resonated with me in terms of like not being accepted into society or like basically not being the norm. But it's like even though I can't relate on like a sexual orientation level, I feel like I resonated with Nimona because it's like whenever I have a lot on my mind and when I'm talking to like someone that's not you guys, like not my friends, I always have to over explain because I understand because I all through my life I've had to like learn how to articulate my thoughts. And even when I'm trying my best to, think of the best example, like, Shay, you were trying to explain the intersectionality piece, you used feminism, but it's like, oh, that's words can't describe like your experience because you live it every day. It resonated with me in terms of like I feel like all of us we go through like not being accepted in society in a different way, and that may look different, but even beyond like the themes that are presented. And I just think that is like beautiful that people bring stories to life, not just like as a token thing. They have given thought to the character and they want it to resonate with people because it's like a piece of them is in the art. Like one day I'd love to create something like that, or maybe an idea that I already have, but I want that to also speak to other people as well. So yeah, I just wanted to add that as well.
Yeah, no, thank you for that, because it's kind of like this is why representation matters, is because of these stories are needed regardless of your identity, whether you are part of the queer community or not, because you could still relate to these characters. You can relate to not being accepted for being weird or something like that. Like it's like Turning Red, where there was this one like white old man critic who was like, nobody can relate to this story.
Ew.
And when the reviews say wrong. Other reviewers say wrong, and so does the rest of the audience, because you don't necessarily have to be Asian. Hi, I'm Asian. To understand Turning Red, or like relate to these characters and the familiar relationships with your mother and stuff like that. It's like you don't necessarily have to be queer to understand Nimona, and I think that's what makes like stories like these matter, is because yes, the queerness and the themes are here. People are here to celebrate that regardless of identity, is what I'm trying to say.
Oh, got you. No, thank you. Thank you so much. Thank you both for explaining that, because I know there are different layers, and I feel like every day I'm learning something new, so I appreciate that. I know you just said like it's not just about like the queerness there, but I just appreciate you guys. I'm glad that you guys are like, you don't mind if I ask questions about it.
Of course. Yeah, no, I think as long as people are making the effort to understand, I think that's what truly matters. And I think that's what Ballister does throughout this movie, is to eventually come to an understanding about Nimona's identity as a shapeshifter. And just, she just says, I'm Nimona, whenever he asks her, who are you, or what are you?
Nimona.
And exactly. So I think just seeing that development throughout the film is really nice to see. It's like a good representation of that.
Yeah.
I remembered something. Okay, I like the show called Gen V. It's a spinoff of like that show The Boys, so like superhero, but they're superheroes at college. Like I literally was watching it right after I was rewatching Nimona today, because I just enjoy the show. It's a good show. But one of the characters, Jordan, they're another like non-binary shapeshifter character. Third one in media I've watched. There's a lot of them. It's like a sub-trope. I think it's kind of funny. I don't know, like I think when rewatching Nimona and then going to watch Gen V and then remembering like they have like very similar conversations. And but I don't know, I think that's why I just mentioned it, because like a lot of conversation Jordan has, especially with their parents. Because, like, in show, their parents are like, you don't have to be, like, a girl all the time, like a girl and a boy. You could just be a boy and like live your life and be normal. And Jordan's like, well, if you take away, but like they're like, the thing is though, like both forms, because they have like a more masculine, more feminine form.
Mm-hmm.
They're like, well, if I can't like shift, then I can't be me. Like that's just taking away like integral part of me. So like you kind of just have to like deal with it. But then like there's like also other stuff going on with it too, because like I know, because like also the parents are talking about like Jordan's my firstborn son, and I'm like, that's a whole other section of it too. I don't know. I was just thinking about that while like rewatching both, basically.
Seeing the parallel of that.
Yeah, like I guess like I appreciate seeing the conversation brought up in both. I don't know, I think also too seeing it for like two different like age audiences too is nice, if that makes sense.
Yeah,
because like Nimona's like, I wouldn't say it's like a kids, it's like kids, like I wouldn't even say kids movie.
Tween?
Yeah, like tween, if they still exist. Like, yeah, like Nimona has like a younger demographic compared to Gen V, which is like rated like, I don't know if it's, I think it's TVMA. I don't know. Usually like when I watch like shows, especially, I don't know, like when I watch like shows where it's like direct towards like an older audience, sometimes it's weird because like sometimes I'll get more scared about like the queer representation, especially for like non-binary characters. I don't know why. I just do. Maybe it's also because like what I watch too might inform that, because I'm so used to watching like shows target towards like younger audiences. But basically with Gen V, I was like a little scared because like when I don't watch The Boys, so I don't know how they handle stuff, but from my understand they handle it well. But like especially with like non-binary identities, and like trans identities in general too, I feel like the general public still struggles with that writing wise. That's why. I mean, Gen V wasn't complete. I don't know how Gen V's marketing was. I just get wary. Long story short, I just get wary sometimes. But I like how Jordan's character is written, especially, again, with, like, intersectionality. Because Jordan also, like, and it's, like, brought up in the show, because, like, a lot of the characters, you can't ignore their identities in terms of the universe of the show, because the whole thing is, like, superheroes, but also, like, superheroes are chosen kind of based on like kind of like similar to like political parties and stuff. So like a lot of the characters are like, well, I'm this and this, so like I'm not like super popular here. And like with Jordan, you're like, well, I'm Asian and bigender, and like so I don't think that's gonna help. Like it's just like what am I even talking about?
No, not good.
Commentary.
Yeah, basically the shapeshifting thing reminded me of each other. Very, like, thing. I do kind of wish sometimes, though, we had, like, non-binary characters that didn't have, like, a shapeshifting thing.
Oh.
Because I've seen it, like, or, like, a non-human slant, because now I'm, like, let's try something different. I know there's characters who are non-binary that are human. I know that. I watch shows. I do watch other shows and movies. I think it's just, like... like even in a fantasy setting, I would like to branch out a little bit specifically. In a fantasy setting specifically.
I just want to clarify, like, you just want to see a different representation of identifying as non-binary, just not like shape-shifting, because it's kind of like a typecasted thing almost, or at least that's the impression you're giving me.
It's like it's a trope. Like, it's not, like, bad or good. I think, like, it's just now. It's mainly just in a fantasy setting this happens, though. That's why I'm, like, I want there just to be... If there are, let me know. So then I want to know, like, if I'm getting stuff wrong. But I keep seeing, like, in fantasy settings where a character is, like, if I am not, like... I'm not a man or a woman, right? Like, because that's usually how it's, like, phrased and stuff. They're always, like, an alien, a shapeshifter, or a robot. And I kind of want in a fantasy setting for it to be, like, a human. So then it's, like, not seen as, like, otherworldly. Like, in Nimona, like, the purpose makes sense. Like, I'm not saying, like, Nimona's bad because Nimona's a shapeshifter, and thus that invalidates, like, what the movie goes for. It's just more so, like, I just want variety in general. That's my whole thing. I like variety. It's like when people are like, new TV show, black cast, and I get really excited, but then sometimes I'm like, I wish this wasn't a slice of life again, low-key.
Yeah.
Because we have so many, but, like, I'm not, like, upset about it. It's just more so like, oh, I wish we had more of, like, this genre or, like, this thing. Like, that's what I mean.
And then like I can connect that to something else. Like Disney has a thing to have like quirky female characters, like adorkable. I think that's the word they use. Get what you're coming from.
Yeah, like, I don't think it's, like, a bad or good thing. It's just more so, like, I want variety. This is so off, like, left field from what... I don't even remember what I was saying originally. Someone else talk.
Yeah, no, I was just gonna say that your point is very valid. Because when you were providing that example, I was also thinking about She-Ra's character Double Trouble, who's also non-binary, and is also a shapeshifter and is also a villain, in the show. So it really, it's like a double-edged sword where you like see that gender non-conforming identities, communities, and people are being represented as that and that only. Like, just like the only allegory for this identity is like they shapeshift when they could just exist as real people, humans, characters. So then, you know, real gender non-conforming peoples can see that their existence is okay. Like literally visually.
I was gonna say, just gives off the same vibe as, like, those bathroom signs where it's like everyone's welcome here, and it's like the masculine, like, bathroom person, the feminine bathroom person, and the alien. Like, that's what it feels like.
Oh my god. I don't think I've ever seen that, but like, oh my god.
I hope that's an exaggeration, because I've never seen that ever. It just...
Oh no, there's like a bunch. I can, like, I'll send a bunch of them.
You guys have been mentioning some really cool stuff. Like breakfast tacos, Steven!
Yeah, like breakfast tacos!
This is just gonna be the trend
Sydney,
in this episode.
it's 3 o'clock. There are no breakfast tacos. They're just normal tacos now.
Any time of the day, I make the rules.
Thank you. If only I could high five you.
Yeah.
I'm high fiving you.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
On the set. You guys are in the
we're on
same
the
room.
set.
Yeah.
You guys can do it right now.
Yeah.
High five.
Yeah.
Dap it up.
Yeah. Yeah. Give me some skin, dog. Yeah.
Yeah, give it, yeah. It's actually 4 o'clock, Shay. Thank you so much. Now all of us are in.
Yeah, for me.
Yeah, for me it's 4 o'clock.
I adjusted it for. Oh,
yeah,
it is?
It's 4 o'clock. It's EST.
I thought you were in Chicago time.
No, ma'am. I'm
It's like
back,
1 p.m. for me, so I can't.
It's 1 p.m.
Yeah.
You still got some of the day, though.
I'm the only 3 p.m. person here.
Hey.
Let's beat her up.
No,
Why?
Don't YouTube, you should flag now. Flag Shay.
Oh my god.
They can't do anything.
No, they're good.
I own this company.
I own this company. I love it.
Oh my god.
It. Oh wait, Steven,
Yes.
You mentioned that you had stuff to talk about, I think, the creator and...
I think what you're referring to is my big sequel pitch, so-and-so sequel pitch
Yes.
for if they were to
Ooh,
make a
come on.
sequel to Nimona. So you guys better strap in, because I hope to hit...
I'm strapped in,
I hope
bro.
to hit all the
Let's
points
go.
here. Okay. And if Andy Stevenson, if you're listening, please steal my idea. Please use my idea for Nimona too. So I would like for all of you to think of this sequel as like Shrek 2 level of like storytelling. I'm talking like
That's very high. That's a very high thing. You are hyping.
Yeah,
Especially
I
for
wanna
Shay.
Yeah,
Oh
Shrek 2 is like one of
my.
my favorite films.
I'm saying that because I want to throw the bar like that high up. Like I don't care if it misses. I don't care. I just want to just get it out.
I don't
Let's
care.
pitch it.
Let's
Pitch it
do
right now,
it.
Steven.
Okay, all right. So here we go. So first, okay. So we open up where I would like to say that we get like the ending of Nimona as the beginning of the second film. We get that like surprise from Nimona because she's not hey boss, she lives, right? She's not dead. So she
Yes.
lives.
Yeah.
She's in a way immortal. So okay, so we have that little happy reunion. Boom, title card, Nimona 2, whatever. I don't know how we cut. There's been a time skip. We have words on the screen to tell you, 15 years later, or some 10 years. I don't know how long the time skip's gonna be, to be honest. Things in the kingdom, like the kingdom is flourishing. The director is no more. The society has grown to accept Nimona and just anything. Any people coming in, because we saw at the end of the film that the kingdom opened its walls. Now it's like people can come to and through, whatever. The Royal Institute, that it's still a thing, but it's not like as, I guess, tyrannical, or not tyrannical. It's not as like tight-lipped and we got to have our labels for people who don't agree with us or do agree with us.
There's no government?
There's technically, but it's not like gripping to like society and telling them like, hey, if you're not normal, if you're not like, your place as a commoner or like whatever, right? Then like, yeah, it's like, it's as peaceful as it can get.
Oh, that
yeah.
sounds beautiful.
And not to mention, Ballister and Nimona are now, Ballister got rightfully his place in the institute. Like he's now a commoner turned like a knight. There you go. Yeah, knight. Yeah, a knight, and he got his rightful title. And Nimona is there too, so now we get, although she probably is like, I do things my way, but she still kind of like, I'm working under the institute, whatever. So, all is going fine and well and dandy until we get kind of a alert. There's been no contact with an expedition that has been happening in the not the background, like it from this point of the story, like that expedition has already gone out, but like there's been no contact with said expedition. It's gone radio silent. They're starting to wonder, are these people alive? Why can't we contact them? And so that's when Nims and Ballister, we have them, they're tasked with going beyond the adventure takes us beyond the kingdom walls. And
ooh, you got your
Ooh.
trailer
yeah,
voice.
the beyond the kingdom walls. And so they're tasked with going out there and finding out what happened to it. Of course, technology, their medieval technology world allows them to track the last location of where they've been. It's like way deep out in the mountains or the thing, like it's so far beyond it, like you don't even see the kingdom when you look back. It's like it's that far out. And then we have a little travel montage. Just give me that one track from Brother Barry. Tell everybody I'm on my way.
I'm on my way.
Of course, it's probably gonna be like originally scored or something. But anyways, so we go to expedition. As we kind of take a break from the travel montage, we kind of get a little bit of discourse, Nimona and Ballister, which we'll get back to on that. That's gonna be a boiling pot. It's gonna be a boiling point later. We'll see what happens with that, and then bam, they finally find out what happened to the people on this expedition. It turns out that they've been completely like stripped of anything that can track them, whatever, right? So whatever they're dealing with is just as smart to like know that these are our prisoners now, and we're not gonna let you take them back. So it turns out they find out what happens to them. They stumble upon a village that is built completely like, I would say this village, like if I can describe this village, it's sort of like, it's like Hobbit core, it's like the houses are built into like these mounds of the ground. It's a very earthy. It's very thing. They have like tree houses too. It's like, it's not just Hobbit core. It's like Ewok core even. It's like yeah, fantasy woodsy kind of like that's these
Magical, kind of Harry Potter.
Almost
Harry
yes,
Potter?
almost yes, but like with a very big emphasis on like that these people from this village they live and breathe like nature and stuff, right? But here's the twist. We find out that these villagers are exactly like Nimona. They are shapeshifters. There is more of Nimona's kind out there.
So it's
Mm.
basically, it's kind of like Ice Age, because like he thought he was the only mammoth, and then it's like, come to find out, there's a
There's
lot
a
more. There's one
yes.
more, and then it's like I think they go on later to find
Yeah,
more.
so
I
yeah, so
think.
like in this like, universe, like we don't know much about like we're other than Nimona's backstory of the whole like Glorith, like we don't know anything before that, like right? So she has to have come from somewhere, and something had to have led to where she ended up in the kingdom we all like know and see in the first movie. Humanoid, they seemingly take the form of humans because I like to think that these shapeshifters are only limited to like what they see, and so I'm pretty sure like there have been humans that have come through and have like things, so they think like, oh, this is what a human looks like, this is what I think, but they're only limited to the animals that they hunt, that they have to thrive on so that they can live. Granted, I'm not gonna go too much into detail because I'm just trying to hit the story points here. So yeah, they're only limited to shapeshifting to things that they are able to see out there, which are far and few between of like animals and stuff, woodland creatures, humans that might have stumbled upon their village and then I don't maybe they just scare them off or something. These humans that we have went on this expedition, they captured for some reason that I probably have not thought about, but something like that. These shapeshifters really just want to thrive out here because they don't want human contact. They want to preserve their way of life. They shut themselves away from the outside world, other than like the outside like human contact and stuff, because they don't want anything to do with them. So we then go to Nimona. She introduces herself. She's like, "Hey, I'm one of you guys," and at first it's kind of like these shapeshifters are kind of adamant because there's like you're one of us, but you're not. You've never been with us for like the longest time. But Nimona, she wants to try to broker some peace, and she wants to tell these shapeshifters that humans are not so bad. Maybe getting a little bit of help from humans or just some outer external help, would probably help your guys' little community flourish and stuff. But they're like no, we don't want that. And then they dislike humans. They don't want anything to do with them. And we get a moment where Nimona is trying to make a decision because the shapeshifters have they found out like you're traveling with a human. Imprison that one. Imprison the puppy dog eyes one, right? And and we imprison the teenage girl puppy dog eyes one. And so like now there's this big rift that happens between Nimona and Ballister, because it's like, why are you letting them do this to me? I thought, we've been friends. We've went through this whole arc and everything, like way back when. We go way back. And Nimona's like very like, there's an inner conflict with her, because at one, she wants to try to make peace with humans, but at the same time, she wants to explore her origin. She wants to know where she came from. Maybe we might get because these shapeshifters have probably been around for so long. Maybe we might even get to see her parents or something, or some form of her family being talked about or something. We don't know, but I'm not trying to get too into detail with that. So yeah, there's a rift in their friendship, and then she wants to convince the shapeshifters, let my friend and these humans you've taken captive go. And then now we're like, okay, we can adhere to your request only if you participate in our big trial by combat thing that they kind of like revolve their society. It's almost like a sense of entertainment from them. They obviously can't get hurt because they're shapeshifters. They can turn into any animal they've seen. And they have a sense of like they're obviously not human, so they're gonna have some sort of higher durability. They don't go as far as like obviously killing each other, because it's like, how can they? They're shapeshifters. They're just gonna, we've seen it with Nimona. She can't physically get hurt, as we've seen with like the arrow in her leg. And so we then it's the humans versus like maybe some like the shapeshifter like people who participate in the combat trial thing. So in that moment we have like a Nimona and Ballister. They have to set aside their differences because Nimona is rightfully taking her place alongside Ballister. She's like, all right, I'll help them. I'll help them through this trial of combat because I see myself as a part of them. They've took me in, that, so I rightfully will fight alongside them. They set aside their differences, and then as we go along with this trial of combat, it's like this very like actiony like thing. We get some cool Nimona and Ballister team up move, fighting alongside each other. That's cool. And so the whole leader of this little society here, this shapeshifter society, they finally get a new perspective. They can see like, oh, looks like humans and us shapeshifters can work together in tandem. So maybe like we can coexist. And so, we have that big moment, that big revelation. And then, after that, we can infer that there's officially been peace that has been brokered between these shapeshifters and humans of the kingdoms of. So we get a nice happy ending. Okay, we get a nice happy ending where Ballister and Brosius, they grow old together. Nimona's still doing her, she if she's proved herself to be able to broker peace between these shapeshifters thing, now she's probably now been appointed as like the kind of I guess like the peacekeeper for the kingdom, for however far the kingdom expands and however far they can create allies where they go and stuff. And there's still she's still out there doing good work for the world or for the kingdom. And then now it's like before the credits roll, we get to see how much the kingdom has expanded greatly. And the end, then that's our happy ending. And then bravo, roll the credits, Nimona 2.
Guys,
Yay!
you could create a pitch Bible with that
I
pitch.
think
like
I could.
concept art
Yeah.
and
I think
everything.
I think I would need the right connections, or if I can talk to like Andy Stevenson or whoever's in charge of like gonna do the next Nimona film or something. I don't know, but thank you.
Yeah, of course. But yeah, like I was thinking, like you could do a synopsis. You could have like like if they have an updated character design, you could do it all, man.
If I somehow get that opportunity and you guys, and I'm like, guys, I'm like lead writer on Nimona 2 or something like that, I would be like, I would be so like, oh, this is something big. I didn't think I'd get here.
Love. Oh my god, I could definitely see that sequel. Like it's like playing in my head right now. I love a good like homeland
story.
Like story trope, I guess. Like
when you were
that sounds fun.
The way you explained like how like you can see the land expanding, I just now thought of it, but I could see like the cameras panning over like kind of like sort of fast, but not like crazy fast, but kind of like the end of WALL-E. I don't know if you see that.
Do you
but
mean like
basically?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about.
Yes, like when they land on Earth and they start growing things. First off, we need to get a sequel to WALL-E because where is that? We've been getting remakes and redos and revamps for other stuff, but I'm like, where are the movies that I feel deserve it for sure? I just would like to highlight. I know like we're like beyond talking about like I guess the beginning. I feel like we've been all over the place about Nimona, but like I just love how I love how unhinged Nimona is. Like when she first meets Ballister, like I'm in a Discord server with a ton of like people that I know from school, and so like she made like to the first part like where she like hi Samantha like the first part of that whole scene, she basically like made a Sona of herself and then imagined if she was meeting Miguel from Into the Spider-Verse, and it was so well done. And I just thought of that, like, just like the unhinged energy.
I also agree with like the characterization of Nimona, and I think just everybody in general. Like, you just have a sense of like everybody's like personalities and how they act and everything. I don't know. I just wanted to ask people about like the idea of the society and the institute itself, because and what you guys think about that, because like the institute is the like group of people in power that includes like the knights and the director and the queen and everything, and everybody like praises the knights for like, you know, protecting them from the monsters and everything.
Their heroism.
Yes, exactly. And you really see that throughout the movie in like little small like scenes. For example, the Dragon Crisps commercial that plays in the subway scene. Like there's actual like consumerism, like propaganda that brainwashes like the people in the society from a very young age. Like in the commercial, you see that, you know, the kids are eating the cereal and then the dragon shows up, which is like, you know, the monster, obviously. And like, it's Quispy. Oh my God, no way. But like they instantly turn to knights, and they like, it's very, if it wasn't for like the milk, like it's signifying like blood, basically, when they like stab the spoon through the dragon.
I did think about that until now you mentioned it. Oh my God.
I kind of got a propaganda feel from
Yeah.
that as well. Like, not gonna lie. I feel like in media, especially like commercials and stuff and marketing, you like, without even realizing it, we're like brainwashed somehow and we don't even know it.
It makes me think about the setting that Nimona is in. Like, it's not just medieval, it's like medieval like sci-fi, where there is like actual technology that does relate to in the modern society and world that we live in right
reality.
now in real life. There's a lot of nuance in media, in the things that you see in the news and everything, and it's very like, it's not like I'm gonna say it's high concept, but it kind of is for a younger audience movie to like represent that. I wonder if anybody else had any thoughts like specifically about the Institute and whether or not like the director was like a good antagonist or not, because I think she is. Like, obviously she's like a shitty person.
All my homies
hate the director.
Throw the director out of power so badly.
Yeah, exactly. And like just throughout the film, she is definitely like fear mongering, like, you know, just the ideals that she holds very strongly, and being raised that way, just as most people are in the film and everything. Like the quote that Glorith says, like, back to the shadows from whence you came from and stuff. Like that is ingrained in people's like minds and everything. So yeah.
Oh, I was gonna say, like, I thought she was like a fine antagonist, I guess. I don't know. I just feel very like she was good. I think the one thing that always stood out to me though, was like the guy at the beginning when he was like, basically he was trying to like show him like, oh look, the director like switched out the sword or whatever, right? But I think a lot about how like he didn't try to further prevent it. He just gets like called over and then he just never does it again. And it's, how do I phrase it? It like kind of reminds me, it's like he's like saying, he's probably like, well, I did my part to try and like break the mold, but ultimately I can't, because at the end of the day I'm just some guy polishing swords.
Right. I'm just a squire,
I guess. Yeah, like it's, I don't know, like it feels like the institution, I don't remember if that's the word.
Yeah.
Like, it just feels like they've conditioned him to the point where, like, even if he tries to, like, push back, it's like, he's like, well, either way, like, what would that mean for me?
Right.
He's literally giving the sword to, Bao. But the thing was, he was saying, well, I tried to warn you, I tried to show you the phone, but, like, I was like, but you didn't, like, push it to, like, make it a point. You're just, like, more so, like, there wasn't, like an eternal call to action to try to prevent whatever was happening. He just knew, like, she switched out the swords, but, like, he didn't, like, push it further, I guess.
Yeah.
I don't know. I might also, like, I don't think I'm, like, thinking too much into it. It's very much, like, still a, like, audience interpretation, right? Where it's like, maybe he did that just because of also the fear of being ostracized by society and, like, the community, especially, like it could be that, or, like, even if it's, like, a more sinister angle, like, he didn't want to be fully blamed for whatever happened. It would be easier for, like, the quote-unquote, like, other commoner. I don't know. Like, I'm that part, I think, is, like, more reading into it, and, like, more, like, making jumps and leaps, because you don't really know this person. But I found that part really interesting.
I don't know if this was also what you were trying to say, but, like, I think that there are also, like, different positions of power within the institution, like, in a way, too, because it's like, sure, you have privilege and power once you're part of the institution, once you're going to be a knight, and, like, it's in a similar way where Ballister, like, is only a commoner, and he's able to be a knight because of getting recognition from the queen and everything. There's still a level, a sense of power between the director and everybody else, when she's the one that's, like, the highest, I guess. And it's so weird because it's simple, but there's also just very much so, like, complexities within this system that the institution has built upon.
Yeah.
While still keeping, the director in power.
Because I guess my other thing is, too, I mean, again, like, the other thing I think a lot about, too, is, like, the whole thing where it's, like, here's Glorf's children type thing. Okay, personally, for me, there's, like, a lot going on, and also, I read into everything, no matter, like, even if it feels very unintentional. Because, like, of course, it's, like, they're, like, oh, high society, like, high members are the ones of Glorf. They're, like, very, like, they'll have blonde hair. I'm not saying it was intentional. It was just, like, a weird little observation. I was like, they all have blonde hair, like, that's the big thing. And then, like, oh, I think one thing I did want to say, again, correct me if I'm wrong, I know I watched the movie today, but, like, also I was half watching. With Ambrosius, right, like, when watching the movie, it also felt like, okay, because, of course, like, the way, like, the institution society is, like, all he ever knows. So it just, like, also feels like he's just trying to, like, they're trying to reform the government, but, like, also, I'm gonna sound crazy. Not crazy. I feel like I'm not gonna make any sense. Because, like, his whole thing is, like, no, we need to, like, reform the government, right? But, like, not, like, change, like, all the systems, even though all the systems kind of led up to, like, what happened, right? Versus, like, I don't know, like, where, like, kind of, I feel like Nimona's like, no, the whole system needs to be, like, gone.
Yeah.
I think, if I could cut in, I think what you mean to say is, like, they're, with, like, the institution, I don't know, is that, like, that there needs to be a way to, like, improve upon it, like, we can make it better, not, because I know it's, like, you know, like you said, Nimona just wants it just fucking gone. There's a way of not totally knocking down the columns, but also, like, I guess you can strengthen them rather than knocking them down entirely, right? No?
I think I'm saying the opposite. I think I'm agreeing with Nimona.
Topple the
like,
columns down.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because ultimately, a lot of problems of the movie literally come from the fact that there is a system in place to, like, oppress, like, anything that's different.
Yep.
And so, a lot of, like, I don't even know what I was getting. I think I just went on a long tangent about how government should be dismantled. But, like,
Yes.
Fight the power!
Anarchy!
Basically what I'm saying is that I found that interesting on at least, like, Golden Loin's point. Because, like, I didn't talk a lot about him because, like, ultimately the movie isn't really about him. Like, he's connected. He's just, like, a connection to, not just a connection, because that's now downplaying his role in the movie, but, like, he's just not, like, a main character. And so I found, like, his, like, I don't know, I find like him, Nimona, and like Ballister's like ideals contrasting very interesting, and I think also like it kind of like, I don't know, it like also ties into like really good like cool messaging, I guess. I don't know what I'm saying.
Yeah, no, I mean that makes sense, Shay. I think with the way that Golden Lloyd is like portrayed throughout the film, like he's not necessarily like there because it's obviously centered towards Nimona and Bal, but like he stays with the institution. It's not like he goes over to Bal and thinks that like he's innocent, because like he thinks that he's not, and that like that really threw me off in the movie. Not like necessarily in a bad way, but like, oh, okay, so the gay people are fighting. Okay. And it isn't Golden Loin like related to Glory,
Yeah, because
right?
that's why he's blonde.
Yeah, he's a descendant.
Yeah. So like with that, he's, I don't know, he's definitely in the perspective of, no, the institution is good, and like we need to do whatever we can to protect our people and our society, quote unquote.
So he's loyal to his.
Yeah, and the ideals he was raised with, because of like, yeah, just propaganda and other things. This movie is so big brain. Like, you kind of, there are a lot of like deep like themes that run within like this whole film. So I really appreciate y'all like, you know, taking the initiative and speaking about it.
They stole my premise. They didn't, but like, I really like the premise. And like that's like very modern, but also very like medieval-ish.
Sci-fi.
Yeah, it's like Shrek. I like
Yes,
Shrek setting.
yes.
One of the stories I'm trying to develop, and it's gonna take forever, has like a similar setting. And so now I'm like, oh, why didn't I think of that? But then now I'm like, I need to like look at this and look at some other stuff and like start combining them, because I don't want to like copy. But like, basically, I'm like, is it envy or jealous? I don't know which one's which right now. It's like more so, I wish I came up with the idea before you, but like, because this is so cool. And then like the animation's nice. I like one art thing I do really like is there's a very specific detail with Nimona's eyes. During like
Yes!
the scene where they're destroying the castle and there's like the red lights and stuff.
Yes!
So like my boy Bal or Balls,
Sir
yeah.
Balls.
Balls.
Because I've been trying not to say it the whole time, and
Wow.
like it's so
Bowels. And
I don't know why I
Nims
didn't
are
mention
their-
it.
Okay. And then the
Yeah,
herbs.
just insert all of my
Yeah.
messages since I've watched the movie here.
Yeah.
And it's like flashing red, so like his eyes are still like those big old like dark puppy eyes, because he's always confused and sad and in the rain. And then Nimona's eyes are also flashing red with the lights. It's like they don't, is it not absorb the light or something? Like they're reflecting, like her eyes reflect.
Refracting.
Is it?
Like, I think it's refracting. I'm sorry. I think so. I only say that because I noticed, like, okay, so if you've ever had a pet dog or a cat, like, if you shine a light in their eyes, like, it'll show, like, they'll glow.
When you like use the camera in the dark and you turn on like the flash and like with your pet's eyes, it'll like
Yes.
seem like they're like you said, refracting, right? Refracting light.
Yes, and because like they're, you know how with our eyes, the eyes bounce back and
Okay.
forth in order for us to process color. And so that's what that is. And I noticed
That's
that
why
too.
dogs
And I love
only
that
see
detail.
3 colors.
I
2
love that
colors
detail.
even.
Bro, I keep forgetting that.
No, I think it's primarily like blue and yellow are the big ones, and then I think there's like some exception. Like, yeah, it's mainly blue and yellow, I'm pretty sure.
Right. I wasn't even thinking about the science of it. I just like was thinking about that scene from like a color theory perspective, because like her you just see reds like around her all the time because, you know, she's all about
Right.
anarchy and murder, and you know, you usually associate like red to that.
with bad, with like bad,
Kate,
which is really isn't bad, you know.
she is
just,
Nimona.
She's
built
Nimona.
different.
Kate, I gotta say, like, that's exactly
Yes.
the way I saw it too when I was first watching the movie. Like, huh, you know, it's like it's pretty cool that, like, you know, while Ballister's eyes aren't, you know, they're not, you know, reflecting off the red light that's going off in the alarm motor, and like Nimona's is like more prevalent because of, like, you know, her character, who she is. That's just kind of how I got. That's how I interpreted it. I was like, I thought it was like a very neat visual detail.
Yeah. I was gonna say, isn't that before, like, she transforms too?
Yes.
Yeah, so I think it's also... I don't know, I just think it's cool because then, like, it's like, she can shapeshift if for some reason you watch the movie and, like, no knowledge. Like, you don't read the description, like, you just watch it for some reason, you're like, huh.
To add on about like the eyes, I really love that the film in general like just pays attention to details, and I love visual motifs. I love visual storytelling when it's good, and Nimona just does that, and which is why it has an Oscar nominee. But like I really love the foreshadowing of Nimona's eyes flashing white as well, to like foreshadow like the big huge like dragon that
Yeah.
she transforms into at the end.
Oh.
Yeah, because like, you know, it's the visual motif where like people see her as a monster. When they see her eyes, they people instantly know that she's like quote unquote different.
You wanna know what my favorite character detail is?
But
Golden Loin's really stupid soul patch. It's so tiny, I think it's really stupid.
Real.
He has like the tiniest soul patch, like, on his big old chin. I think it's so funny.
It's so funny because I like read that they designed both Ballister and Ambrosius based off like the voice actors, so Eugene, Li Yang, and Riz Ahmed, respectfully. And it's really awesome to see the representation of like queer Asian like love and couples. I just thought that was really awesome to see, because I think it just elevates the story even more.
I don't even think I realized that until like,
Yeah.
like now. I think I was like, wait a minute.
Now that I think about right, yeah, it's really cool to see because I'm like, wow, I don't think I've ever seen a queer Asian like gay couple like in animation. I don't think like I'm trying to figure out like if there is, it's like I'm only counting with like the 5 fingers in my hand right now.
I was gonna say Korra.
But...
That was like the only one I could think of.
True. Love. Thanks, Shay, when you mentioned the blonde hair aspect, I think I was also kind of like getting a like, I don't think it was intentional, but at least like a weird colorism vibe to it. Question mark.
You see, the thing is, whenever I see blonde, I'm so sorry to blonde people. I feel like all I do is like slander you guys indirectly.
It's fair.
If you're
though,
blonde, I
it's
don't
fair.
think you're evil. It's just when I see the animation, then like, or like in a thing, and it's like we are a blonde society, I get really weirded out by it. Then I just stare, and I'm like, I don't think that's right.
Why? Yeah, no, it's, I mean, like, when you think of blonde hair, you think of, like, stereotypical, like, what representation...
Stereotypical Barbie.
Like, yeah, like that. Like, it's obviously, like, quote-unquote, the norm, like, the...
It's like, I mean, I think it's just because it harkens back to, like, what's the word? Aryan, is that what it is? I think it's Aryan, like, it harkens back to that, and, like, I think that's why, but, like, I know it's not intentional. Like, I know the thing, it's like, oh, light equals... Well, speaking of, light equals good.
Yeah. Yeah. I think lighting, like, plays such a huge role in this film, too. Like, when you think about it, like, throughout the film, Golden Loin is always under a spotlight. I don't know. I just thought that was really interesting because like he's, everybody knows him. He's famous for this,
His
and
name's stupid too. I'm sorry.
yeah.
Dang.
No, you're good.
I'm
No,
so
wait,
sorry.
No,
Continue.
it's okay. I thought it, like, when I was saying it to myself, I was like, because in the film, I think I forgot. I'm like, who is that guy? Like, because when I was writing my notes, and I was like, Golden Loin. What the frick? When I think of loin, I almost think of, crotch or something. I'm just like,
Yeah, no,
okay.
so
Yeah.
apparently it was a typo on N.D. Stevenson's part when writing when writing Nimona, like the comic. And so he thought it was funny and kept it.
That's
Honestly,
so good.
that is so base.
Yeah, like in the comic, there's like a dick joke I think about Golden Loin. I forget what. But yeah. Obviously you can't do it in this film, but yeah.
I mean, you could, but it just wouldn't be for kids anymore.
We should have.
Yeah. Yeah, it's like the one that goes over kids' heads. Yeah, but like speaking of lighting too, like, Ballister, I think even just like in a character design perspective with like the armor and everything, right? You have Golden Loin literally in gold, white, and then Ballister, like his armor is all black, and like in terms of like a lighting perspective, like he's always like hiding in the shadows.
Emo boy.
And
Boo.
I'm in love with the emo. Anyways,
We have to
sorry.
watch Nimona.
That came up.
I was referencing the scene where he's like, and it takes off to the marketplace in 3, 2, boo. I love that scene.
Yeah, no, I'm just really impressed to see like the visual lighting, because like it's also the same thing with like the director or any of the knights, for example, like Todd. Like they come from the shadows to the light to like, pretend that there's like innocence within like the institution and stuff, when obviously it's not, it's corrupt. So I don't know, I love visual storytelling like that.
I gotcha. Wait, would you say I hate to use this word, but would you say oh my god, Ambrosius is sheltered in a way?
Yeah, just because of like his upbringing, because like since he's like one of the children of Glorif or whatever they're called,
Yes,
like
Glorif,
he kind of
yes.
like has to be sheltered because he's considered like a high standard or like a high commodity or whatever. Because like his only like home is like that literal building of the institution, from my understanding. Like that's his birthplace. He's very, very sheltered because like he's getting like directly spoon fed, like not even like through like commercials or like his parents, if he had any.
Oh, wow.
That does sound harsh.
Oh, my.
As you should though.
No, but it's kind of as you should. I'm sorry, but kind of as you should.
It's like more so like he's a government baby, but like not in like the like messed up like foster system way. It's like in the or like the royal family. Like I think it's like a royal family situation where like he's very like sheltered and like has no like proper idea of like the outside world completely.
I gotcha. No, I get it. And then it's like trying to tell. I think that's Nimona's like the challenge that she's facing is just trying to get people to see, bro, you have been brainwashed, bro. Okay, so and I know we're jumping back into reality here. It's kind of how, and going through like the whole themes, everything we covered over this time. It's just like getting people to see like, bro, like you should be concerned that people are, we're dividing against ourselves for dumb reasons. And it's like anyone who isn't the normal or the stereotypical American person, or not even that, but human, it's just like we shouldn't be doing that, but we are. And it's like, it goes back as far as the eye could see. And of course, I know that's another podcast, I'm sure, but it's just I made that parallel. It's like trying to get people to see there's a problem, there are issues with how we live. I mean, everything is great in like the world is great, like meaning like in terms of like it can be a beautiful place where you can learn and be exposed to different things and people, sounds and all that stuff. But it's just like the fabric of society is so corrupt, and it's like the fact that people don't like either like they train themselves not to see it, or it's like they've been socially conditioned to not see it, or it's like, you know, someone will like say something that's actually really valid, but it's like it'll be dismissed. It's like, no, you're crazy. Like, no, I'm not crazy. It's like I've experienced it, and it's just like I can relate to Nimona in that way. Like, I just like, you know, the idea that you're walking through a world where it's like there are people who just have been shielded or not shielded. I don't know if shield is the right word, but like in any case, like somehow they haven't been exposed to how hurtful the world can be.
Right.
Oh, I also like how, okay, so Paperman from Disney and Pixar, like that short,
Yes.
the animation, I like how the animation is very similar. It's like the black and white one about like the office workers, and he keeps like making
Yes,
paper airplanes.
yes.
Very glad that they went with like a fun animation style that like also feels very unique to the film only. Because it, for reference, if you have never like seen the book or even like N.D. Stevenson's art style, they're very different. Like in general, like not just because it's 3D, it's 2D. It's like there's fundamental differences, which is kind of cool. And I always like when different media like switches up the art style, but like still has to retain a bit of it. So I kind of like how flat yet very dimensional everything looked. It looked very chewy, kind of like Paperman, and it's just kind of funny to think about too, since like the movie could have been under Disney, because like I know for years people were like, why aren't they using like the Paperman style? And like this would have probably been like the excuse for like them to like, I don't know, like for Disney to be like, well, we did it technically, but you know, of course, like it's on Netflix, so
Disney fumbled.
yeah. I like how unique it is, and also like, okay, everyone calls it like, I know he said it's like the Spider-Verse trend. This isn't it exactly, but I do like the mix of like 2D and 3D that's going on like right now, because it feels like dual appreciation for both, and especially where like in film right now, well, not like right now obviously, if there's like multiple films that are like trying to combine the two more, but like for a while it felt like we were at an age where we didn't want like feature length 2D anymore. I mean, because like the last like of course there's like other 2D animated movies that are still going on. Like this isn't just like all 2D animation theaters is dead. It's obviously not. I think just like in like the Western market, like we don't have as much anymore. But it's cool to see also like the combination. That's what I'm saying. I like the film's art style. I like Golden Loin's stupid goatee.
I like his.
Oh, that's what
I
you
like
were
his goatee,
talking
too.
about.
It's so
Very
tiny.
slay.
It's so tiny on his face. It's just all chin. I think it's so funny.
Like, I'm not familiar with the Try Guys. Like, I only know Eugene, but like, does he ever wear a patch? Like, is it?
Oh, Eugene. So, okay, for context, Eugene Lee Yang, who I know way too much about because I follow him since BuzzFeed days, and I also watch the Try Guys. So there was a moment in time where he did have a beard, but it wasn't like a stupid little soul pat.
Okay.
But like, Golden Loin does look like Eugene Lee Yang. It's the hair mainly. It's mainly the hair and like kind of the face shape. I think that's kind of the fun part about it. The movie too. It's like if you know what like the voice actors look like, especially for like the main three, that's just them. I think it's really fun.
Yes, they did the same with Ballister.
Riz, my guy.
Also, the voice acting was, like, pretty good. I think it's funny that Ballister is British. But, like, I know why he is, but, like, I always find stuff like this funny when it's, like, one person's British, but everyone else is, like, American or, like, very Canadian. I think it's really funny.
I think especially when medieval, like, media is usually, like, British accents. Like, it's so funny to see that contrast.
Yeah.
I also, like, I know I nodded at, like, the unhinged Nimona. It's just, like, I know I've said it before, but, like, just when when they mentioned how to approach a situation, like, looking for the squire. Yeah, like, we're just gonna find him and we're gonna talk to him. No, we're gonna hurt him. No, we're just gonna talk to him. Okay, then we'll hurt him. It's just, like, the delivery, and I just love how they couple that with, like, just her derpy eyes and, like, shark teeth. Like, I love it.
Ooh.
Cause, like, when I was watching it, I it just makes you want to click your teeth if I'm saying that. I'm probably not saying that right. Like when you smile and, like, you just, like, I don't know.
Like a
I don't know
sinister
how,
smile
I don't know how to explain.
kind of thing.
Yes. I absolutely love it. And it's just, like, she's also, I just love how Nimona has a very charismatic, even though she's bent on destruction and, she solves everything by, hurting people. She has just this very charismatic way of showing it, and it's very fun. They had a lot of fun with her shape shifting and all of that.
Yeah, I really love how expressive, like, the characters are in general with their, like, facial expressions, but especially with Nimona, you can just feel how she's feeling. With especially, I just think about, like, the
Yeah.
slow head turn with her pointy teeth and the cross eyes. Like, it's so good. It's so funny, and I'm just like, yes, I will overthrow the government with you. Yes.
Woo, yes, yeah, and we'll kill. And after we talk to this person, and we'll kill him. We'll do it. Don't flag
Right.
us, YouTube. Don't worry. We're fine.
I will add this though. I really like just each performance of the actor and how well they can. There's just chemistry between them, you know. That's what I like a lot.
Yeah.
On-screen chemistry in a non-romantic way. Like,
It's very like, oh man, I don't know. Yeah, it's just very good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think I'm really impressed with Eugene. Mainly just because, okay, I'm pretty sure with, like, Chloe Grace Moretz, who, like, another person I've been following for a long time, now I think about it. She's done voice acting before, I'm pretty sure, so I wasn't, like, worried about her, and I think Riz Ahmed also did some voice acting beforehand, too. Eugene, this was my first time ever hearing him voice act, so I was like, this
Same.
could either go, like, okay, or really good. But I was, like, pleasantly surprised, because I wasn't, like, thinking the whole time, too, like, oh, that's Eugene. Well, I was. He looks, like, Goldenline looks like him, right? But, like, it wasn't, like, a distracting thing. It's kind of like when you listen, like, Kristen Shaw do some, like, voice act, where you're like, oh, that's Kristen Shaw. But, like, it's not, like, the first thing you always think of. It's just like, oh, right. I thought he did good. That's a long way of saying I thought he did pretty good.
Right.
Yes.
like, it's another layer to the person, right?
I guess. It's just more so, like, I'm glad he did a good job. Because, like, bad voice acting can ruin something for me very badly.
For real.
In Nimona, I thought everyone did a good job. Even RuPaul. I didn't realize it was RuPaul until, like, I read the credits and I said, RuPaul. RuPaul plays one of the, news anchors in the beginning. And I was trying to figure out why I recognized the voice, but, like, it didn't sound enough like RuPaul to me for some reason.
I genuinely didn't know that was RuPaul.
Bro.
Yeah, no, like, I think I'm just, like, very impressed by the voice acting, especially, like, with anime films, because they do, like, usually they do, like, we need a celebrity name to get people to watch it, even though kids really don't care about those celebrities. Like, as a kid, when I watched Shrek, the only person I recognized name-wise was literally Eddie Murphy, and even then I did not care. So, like...
Yeah.
Oh no, I guess now, like, if I was a kid and I saw Zendaya as Michi, I'd be like, yeah, I'll watch it.
And Zendaya's Michi.
But, but yeah, I just thought it was good.
Or as Zendaya as Lola from like the new Space
Yeah,
Jam.
I don't even know if I would care. As a kid, I didn't care about basketball, but,
I wanted to ask, what did people think about the ending of the film? I really, because I thought it was solid and it was very emotional for me in a sense that I did not expect for it to be so deep, I guess, like in the way that the language that Nimona uses when you know, she's kind of at her lowest point, when she's like, I don't know what's scarier, people like pointing a sword at me or like letting them do that. It's not the exact quote, but that was really a lot to think about.
Yes, I would like to say something about the finale. I thought it was really, really great and really well done. And it just felt like a big pot of emotions just ready to blow. You know, it's so damn good. Caitlin said with that quote, that one, like, I'm pretty sure that hit a lot of people hard. To like anybody watching who's probably been feeling that way, it just really strikes. It just really strikes you.
I guess the degree on, because like when someone mentions a content warning, it's like the degree of how far they took it. I think I can't remember exactly how I felt when I first watched it, but I was just like, what? I was like, but like, no, but like, yeah, like people are, like you said, Steve, people are feeling that way. Like, it's like, I'm walking through this world where it's like, I feel like I can't really find a safe place. I know that word goes around a lot, but I genuinely think that is so important. Like a place where you can just be yourself, meaning like, I don't know, like sometimes you want to just sit in your room and just, say your thoughts out loud or think out loud and just like, I don't know, dance like no one's watching kind of stuff without someone walking by and thinking like, oh my God, you're so weird.
Exactly.
When really you're not. You should dance like no one's watching. Like I will be jamming out to something so hard and I just like I have to go all in. But when I see people that kind of vibe with me, like they're like, "Oh my gosh, you're having a good time." Yes. But like yeah, like I think Nimona emphasizes how important it is to have a safe space. Like I don't know, like someone's maybe listening to a podcast is someone's safe space where they can kind of just get lost in the conversation and, find something that resonates with them. Like in all the things we've gone over, I think Nimona also emphasizes what happens if you don't like really do that. You kind of just have like, you're like, what's the point of living if, like I do all this stuff, I do all the things, the right things. Also, can we note, kind of going off of that, can we note like when she, she transforms into the dragon and then she realizes that a kid is standing right in front of her and then to relate to the kid, she turns into a little girl. And then the kid, not knowing any better or just knowing what they've been exposed to or been taught, all they know is to raise a sword to her. And then she has just like this betrayal or like I didn't mean to. Like they don't know that Nimona's trying to defend herself. It's kind of it's kind of like that moment if you guys have ever seen Brother Bear, like where um Denahi, like when this is when Kenai has transformed into a bear.
I know exactly what you're talking about, Sid,
They
because
attack.
I recently
Yes,
just watched the film
yes.
for like the like
Right.
consciously first time because I watched it as a kid. I didn't understand what was going on. Just like, oh, funny bear movie, they talk. But I like sat down and finally watched it, and I was like, oh my God, it's a great movie. High
Oh,
five!
high five!
Oh,
High five! High five!
whoop!
Whoop, whoop.
Yeah.
Wrapped it up. Oh my gosh,
All
I
right,
love it.
sweet.
I love it. That's all I had to say on that. I just love that. Like where I can piece the art to something and like relate it to like my life, even if it's not exactly like hit the nail on the head, I can feel the character. I know that sounds very weird. I can feel like what they're going through.
Yeah. It kind of reminds me of Puss in Boots: The Last Wish. Shout out to that episode.
Bro, that was
Yeah,
so good.
and
Ugh.
how I don't know how they the theme of like about like death, and like, you know, everybody knows the scene about like him having like a panic attack and stuff like that. It's not the same thing obviously that like Nimona was going through, but like just seeing like the representation of like seeing a person or a character like not being not okay, or like dealing with like mental health issues, I think is so important to see, especially I think in children's media, or like young audience media. Like mental health like is important no matter what age you are, you know? Like I think
Yes.
there's such a huge nuance to it at the moment, and I think Nimona does a really good job at like handling that, and I really appreciate the little like resource thing at the end after the credits and stuff.
It's saying like, oh, kids can't be depressed. No, I mean, like, no, like there's a lot going through their heads, I'm sure. I feel like the age has widened in terms of like when your mental health begins to like when it starts to feel bad, if that makes sense. Like I'm sure like and I just didn't realize it. I didn't see the signs or like like do you ever think about like kids like you used to go to school with? When I say kids, I'm talking like elementary school. Like they would always act out. They would never really participate or do anything. And you're like, why are they like that? Or like, why don't they do what they're told? And I can't help but I feel like kids who do that, they're just like they have a lot. They're going through a lot, but you just don't know what that is. And it's like something that could just, set them off. And I love that. Oh my gosh, I forget his name. It's such a cute name where he comes by to check on Puss and he sits on his belly. Even though he doesn't say anything, he kind of just he calms him down because, he knows he's afraid. He's not like his normal self.
Right. And oh my god, it reminds me of when Ballister does like reach out like with his arm to touch like Nimona's heart or something, right? Like in the dragon form at the end, like, that, and he says like, I see you, like I understand you and I appreciate you. I don't know, that was such a heartfelt moment, especially with the development you see within Ballister as he comes to like realization of how horrible the institution is and how it oppresses the people and people like him and people like Nimona. It's also like a theme of like not only friendship but like chosen family when you see it from a queer lens too. With Ballister and Nimona, and eventually Golden Loin, kind of. But
kind of.
Yeah.
It makes me want to just give him a hug. Like, Jesus. Like, you went through all that, and then, you have to move on. Come over here. Like, let me give you a little hug.
Refer to my very, very long conversation about the dynamic between Ballister and Nimona. What Nimona feels like at the end,
right.
At her lowest, is just, I think it's just like a reflection of a marginalized community, like just being so tired of trying to like fit in and assimilate, but like ultimately not being allowed to, right? Not being allowed to like fit in. No matter how hard they try. Like that's all. I think it's just like a good representation of that, because it's ultimately just like, well, if society itself cannot accept me for who I am, of something that I can't help, then what's the point? That's what I'm trying to say. Okay.
Yeah. If anybody had any thoughts about like the music or sound design or anything, feel free to shout out.
One thing. Girl Like, that song.
Yes!
How many nickels will I have if I watch a piece of media about a pink shapeshifter, animal related, that had Girl Like in it? That's a Netflix original. How many?
And the villain is a white woman?
Yep. How many, Caitlin? How many?
Two!
Which isn't a lot, but it's really weird that it happened twice. It's not that weird, but like, it's pretty weird.
It's just the way you worded that exchange. You're like, and the villain was a white woman, and it happened twice.
Well, she's not wrong. And said woman was so scary and trying to uphold some kind of like presency based on class and eugenics, but
the whisper for me.
2 nickels. Watch Kipo.
Shay, honestly, read the comic because it definitely touches upon that.
Okay,
yes.
I'll add it to my really long comic pile.
So the music and sound, like, I guess the music, I'm so sorry. I guess, like, I think I was so involved with the story that I didn't really, maybe it's because, like, I didn't really get through, like, my whole, like, watch time on, like, my rewatch. Nothing stood out to me in terms of music. I think it made sense. But from what I remember from the credits, it had this very emo pop girl feel, which I love. And it's given me Dork Diaries.
Wait, really?
But it's more edgy, for sure. I mean, like, just the way they set up the credits. Because, like, like, kind of notebook tears. Kind of what they did with Turning Red, but, like, it's more, like, ripped up and metal.
I was gonna say, the music is representative of, like, Nimona's, like, adverse feelings towards government. Because it's, like, punk and, like, I don't think it's post-punk specifically. But it's, like, punk-inspired, which is, like, a lot of it does revolve around, like, dismantling, like, structure and everything. And, like...
rebellion.
Yeah, I was gonna say, is Nimona canonically anarchist? Or am I just saying something?
I feel like she might.
I don't remember.
I wouldn't be surprised if she is.
Yeah, me too. Yeah. I mean, come on. Like, she basically, like, I don't know. She literally is trying to overthrow a government.
Not overthrow, dismantle it.
Well, right, because that means she would rule it. Right, destroy it. That's what I mean. Yes. But, the sound, again, nothing really stood out to me about the sound. Everything seemed to fit. Like, there wasn't, like, anything out of place or no major thoughts that I have on
For
that.
sure. I'm like in the similar realm with you too. Like,
yeah, same.
Yeah, the only thing that really pops out for me is like the ending credits song, which is really, really cool, very punk-esque. And then Girl Like in the beginning with the title card, and then I guess the Banana Split song with with the cereal commercial. That's it.
The banana splits.
The banana split, bro. The moment you said banana splits, I thought of that TV show that showed on Boomerang.
I know what you're talking
Yeah.
Where
about.
like there was a dog. I don't.
Dude, I know
I
these things.
There was a Banana Split horror movie a few years ago.
Know it?
Wasn't that supposed? Yeah, I remember that. It was supposed to be like they wanted to market it as like Five Nights at Freddy's.
Yeah.
Or some shit like that. But high five,
Banana
dab
split
it up.
horror? I gotta see it. But yeah, like high
Keep
five
making
again,
obscure
dab it up,
references.
Come on.
You two are going off.
We are.
I
You
think we're
got
just
me.
gonna slowly wrap up with any closing thoughts.
Yes. Firstly, it's a great film. I love it a bunch, and I really hope for its future. It's a hopeful future. Maybe it's a franchise. Also, I'd like to give thanks for all of you guys for listening on my little big sequel pitch that I had, because that was cool.
Of course.
And just thank you, and thank you, Kate and Shay, for having me on this podcast for
That was amazing.
third.
I honestly don't know. It's either third or fourth.
It's my third or fourth time.
Something like
I'm like
that.
a seasoned. I'm like a seasoned veteran or something. I don't
Yeah,
know.
I think you're the second. You've appeared the second most times.
Most time. Who beats me?
Chaz.
Chaz is the number
Chaz.
one. Yep.
Chaz is my rival.
Because Chaz will just be like showing up. He just walks in the studio. He's like, "Hey guys."
Hey guys.
Yeah.
he'll appear-
What are
he'll
we talking
appear
about
from
today?
nothingness. Yeah, and he'll just jump right in. Chaz, if you're listening to this, buddy,
He's like, yo.
you got a rival, and he's got a snout, and he's got a whole pig-esque persona thing going on here. He's or something like that. I
Porky
don't know.
Pig's nephew
Yeah.
or
I think we
grandson.
need to build like a 1224 fighting pit on set, I guess.
Wait, can we?
A fighting
Can we do
pit?
a bracket? Wait, that's mean. But we should. I want to do a bracket, or like the Hunger Games simulator.
Craig, I think your bosses have pitched you a new project to do.
We do a bracket.
Yeah.
I will put everyone in a Hunger
Poor Craig.
Games simulator, record it, and
Oh my
then we
God.
can we'll figure it out from
That'd
there.
be the shortest
That'd be
Hunger
so
Games
funny.
ever.
Oh my
But
god.
it would be funny. Yeah, Sydney, you have the floor.
Okay, my closing thoughts are like, but I just like to say thank you, Kate, for inviting me. Thank you, Shay.
Yeah,
I guess on
like,
some level.
yeah,
yes.
it's not like I built this
Um,
place from scratch. I built that
You pretty
chair.
much manifested this whole place like
yeah.
your mind.
Steve, it was
Yeah, it's not a
amazing.
lot of- it's not a
You
big
are a
deal.
real one. You are more than welcome to connect with.
Oh, thank you. You're a real one too.
1224 is amazing, and y'all should. If you guys made it to this point, you are awesome. And please YouTube, be a pal and don't be a dick. Thank you so much. These are hardworking gal pals of mine. Please.
These are two girl bosses who deserve all the growth they can get for their amazing
And the
show.
world. But yes, thank you so much for
Just
listening
because
to
your
my
baby
little
face doesn't
ramblings.
negate your
And I
age.
am not
Anyways,
old. I have a baby
is that it?
face. Thank
Is
you
that
so
all,
much.
everyone?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just getting emotional. Thank you guys for joining in and just like discussing about this episode. I really appreciate it. I'm so glad that Steven and Sydney like got along very well. I think this is the first time y'all have like ever met and like
Oh, it
talked and
is.
everything. So, yeah.
I legit think you guys have just seen through the course of this episode probably like a friendship that's just started.
Two sunshiny people in one room.
It's a Timon and Pumbaa situation. I think this is the beginning of a
Hakuna
beautiful
Matata.
acquaintanceship.
That's crazy. We planned this. Like, we sat there and we were engineering the craziest guest dynamics.
Right.
I
Thank
love
God it went
it.
well. Yes. To conclude about Nimona, I agree with everybody being such a wonderful film that we luckily got. Despite its like hoops and obstacles, I'm so glad that it came into fruition for what it is to the public, for all of us to see. And I hope that goes for every other kind of project that has dealt with that. Rest in peace, Blue Sky Studios. Thank you to N.D. Stevenson, Blue Sky Studios, and the crew and everybody else, and for this really awesome film that I think will pave the way for many other stories to be shared and told. This only like really scratches the surface. I'd be really happy to see some kind of continuation of Nimona, whether it be like a show or a movie. I would love a slice of life show. I think that'd be kind of cute, or like how they'll dismantle like the institution and everything, and the aftermath of that. Like, I really hope to see some kind of future for Nimona, or for what it is. I think is just such an inspiration for more stories to tell. So thank you all, and thank you everybody.
So let us know in the comments what you think about Nimona. Follow everyone. It will be in the description. I'm Shay. This is weird.
And I'm Kate. Yeah, this is a weird order, but that's okay. We'll go with it. Thank you all for listening to this episode of the 1224 podcast, and we'll see you all on the next episode.
Goodbye.
Later.